Hi, this is Fatima from Surrey604, and we're here today in beautiful Holland Park in Surrey, and Marco Pasqua is joining us.
Right. I love this. I can't believe this weather. Perfect.
You've done a lot of work in a lot of different areas, and we sort of wanted to get to know you. So why don't you give us a little bit of a background?
Professional speaking was not necessarily my first path or choice, but it was always a calling. People were telling me that you got to get into speaking or you got to get into politics. Well, I chose speaking, but my background's actually in technology and IT. I used to work in the video game industry, and the transition for me came from, unfortunately, when I was laid off from a very big game studio, there was a point of realization, and it was kind of like, if I want to get out there and really give back to the community and give back to the people that I care about, what's the one way I can do that? And of course, I had that epiphany moment of, hey, maybe I should get out there and use my voice, because that was the skill set and tool that I've been given that is the most powerful, I think.
So as a young person, what were some of your inspirations?
Well, my very first time of being on the air was actually when I was 10 years old. I was selected as the Timmy for the Timmy's Christmas Telethon.
Okay. Yeah.
And, when I looked out in the audience and I saw how much their faces were lighting up when they're seeing a young man, speak my mind and be a positive ambassador, it always stuck with me. It was kind of like a seed was planted. I just didn't know it yet. And then years later, my big inspiration was Red Robinson, who's out of here in BC. And, he's a really, really great man and really positive guy when it comes to radio and television. And really, he was one of those people that has always encouraged me since that time. And then, of course, when that opportunity happened for me in the game industry, that's where things started to change. And I said to myself, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And I reached out to Red, and he gave me a lot of feedback and suggestions, and it was just fantastic.
So what is some advice that you might want to give to other young people who might not really know what they want to get into at this point in their career? Because it seems like you had sort of a path and you sort of knew where your talents lied.
Well, I think, there's a lot of things. People always say find your passion, and what does that really mean? I think that when you go home at the end of the workday, what's the first thing that you want to do? And what is the thing that you love to do on the weekends? That's going to help to uncover where your true passions lie, And if you can spin that in some way and turn that into a career, which I think is incredibly possible, you just have to have a right support system in place and people that really, really do want you to succeed. But first, it has to come from yourself. You have to honestly believe in what it is that you're doing, and knowing that you have a message to deliver, whether you're somebody who works at, Church's Chicken or wherever. You've got to love what you do, and you got to make sure that you're giving back in the ways that make sense to you. So for anyone who's out there who wants to be an entrepreneur and go after your dreams, it's extremely possible, and you can do it. Just look around you at the people that can be inspiring. For me, Rick Hansen, for example, has played a huge role in terms of inspiration. Nick Vujicic out of Australia, he's got no arms and no legs, but he's really used his own life story to pave a way and to instill positivity amongst people around the world. And that's, if I could even make half the impact, for example, that Rick or that Nick has done, then I'd be a happy guy for sure.
So when you decided to pursue this passion of speaking, what were some of the paths that you took as education to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I was very fortunate. The city of Surrey had a program called the SEEDS program, which is Self-Employment and Entrepreneurship Development Society, to put it short. But essentially what it is it's a 48-week program that allows individuals to go in, pitch an idea a la Dragon's Den style, and if you make it past the first phase where they say this is actually a viable business idea, then you've got the next basically 38 weeks to prove yourself, develop a business plan, all of the above. I mean, have a marketing expert, all these things. And let me tell you, being the only person in that program that was going after a business as a public speaker, you better believe that I had extra pressure on me for my presentation to be perfect. But that was good, and it was a real honor for me. In fact, I was named by my classmates as the class valedictorian, and that really showed me that people out there who didn't know me, half a year earlier, really believed in what I was doing and wanted to see me succeed, and that even lit a fire even more so.
So after the classroom
Yeah.
and the homework and
Yes.
all of that was over, what was the experience like to actually get out there and start doing this?
Well, you know what the great thing is about a business is that people need to realize it's organic. It doesn't matter what you prepare for in a business plan, things deviate, things change, and you have to be willing to change. I think that the worst quality that you could have, if you want to call it a quality, in business is stubbornness. You have to realize that the things that are coming at you, if something's saying that it's not working, maybe you got to change the way that you're doing it. And that's the number one lesson I learned. I mean, starting out in a business, it's not like a regular 9-to-5 job. You know, you don't just go to work, get a paycheck, and that's done. You got to fight every single day, and there's going to be ups and downs. Even for me, as an inspirational guy or motivational speaker, there are times where I thought to myself, am I crazy? Am I really doing this? Is this something that I should be doing? But then, 3 days later, something amazing would happen that would remind me that, yes, this is the right path. This is what I need to be doing. And sort of, I've been learning as I've gone along, and it's been going really well.
So what do you think is the best piece of advice that you could give somebody to get over those difficult times? Because having something of your own is great,
Yep.
but sometimes there's ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and getting your message out there is
Yep.
sometimes difficult. So what sort of advice would you give to someone out there?
I'd say the easiest way that I could give advice on this one is quoting Thomas Edison, and I think he says, I never actually failed at anything. I just learned 10,000 ways on how not to do something. So don't ever look at the times where things aren't successful per se as a failure. Look at it as a knowledge base. Look at it as a way to gain on how you might want to adjust something for the future. So, because there's always something to learn and there's always something to gain. So don't think at your first 3, 4, 5 failures, because those are not a bad thing. Failure is given a bad stigma and a bad word, but really it's about lesson learning. And so out of all the times where I was like, wow, that was something that I wouldn't want to necessarily do again, but it's great because now I remember that and I know how to go about it in the future. It's only going to amp up my business and amp up the way that I see people and help other people.
So you're in the business of motivating other people.
Yes.
And inspiring others to do something that they truly want to do.
Sure.
Or, to get over any obstacles. What are some of your personal inspirations and how do you stay motivated?
Well, I think you got to step, not to sound cliche with my cube principle, but step outside the box, and think outside the box. For example, one of the ways that I really wanted to be able to give back to a certain niche market of individuals while also marketing my business was through something called the Drop Zone. And that was a 20-story rappel off the side of an office building, which I did last year in my wheelchair to raise money for Easter Seals camps, which are camps for persons with disability in the summertime. And this is a camp that I went to as a child, and it means a great deal to me. So to know that I was able to do something amazing in my wheelchair, it got the attention of the media, and I was able to promote the fact that this is literally facing your fears head on, but at the same time I'm also raising money for individuals to go to camp. So it's a win-win. Anytime that you can tweak a sort of business idea and see that you can help out a mass group of people, that's the way you got to look at it. Be creative with it. Think outside the box. I mean, that's what CUBE principle stands for. It's an acronym that stands for creatively utilize your best energy. Now, it's more than just a system. It's actually a mentality. It's a way of life. What are you doing to get what you want in life? What are you doing to go out there and do it? And that's what I try to live my whole life. I got to practice what I preach because people will call me out on it, right? Yeah.
So who calls you out on it when you're
my fiance every day. She's making sure that she tells me, hey, is this a way that you're going to inspire and motivate yourself? Let's try to shift this and try to do something different. Or she's really into physical activity, rock climbing, canoeing, you name it. So she constantly pushes me, and you'd be surprised, being a person who uses a wheelchair, I have cerebral palsy, but I do have the ability to walk a little bit. And she's always saying, let's go rock climbing, let's go do this, let's go do that. And every single time I literally touch the top of that rock wall, or I get to the end of a canoeing trip or something, I feel so invigorated. And that's the kind of energy that I want to give back to the audiences is, you know what, even though I've been given or dealt a certain type of cards, it doesn't mean that you have to let that hold you down in life. You can really get out there and go after what you want. So yeah, Karen has been great for that.
So what are some of the things that you like to do on the weekend, you and Karen?
Well, to be honest, on days like this, literally, it would be to go down to the beach. One of my favorite places to go in Metro Vancouver is at English Bay. Oh, yeah. Now, here in Surrey, of course, Holland Park is right up there. Views like this, you get to see the trains going by, you can do some people watching. Yeah. I think just getting out there and enjoying yourself. I'm also an avid poker player. Now, that doesn't necessarily play a part when it's a beautiful day like this, but I think that getting outside of looking into people and how they sort of process information. I think that poker plays a good part of that. It's kind of like reading people is a good way of sort of on the weekends practicing what it's like in business and how to read people and how to get them what they really want or help them to do something in their life. So I try to do these things on the weekend that really help play a part in that as well.
And you win big.
You try, right? You definitely try. And yeah, I mean, especially times like this, I think one of my favorite things to do would probably be to go out into the water, especially it's a warm day like today.
Yes.
To be out there in the water, and I hear it's going to be a hot summer this year, so I really want to just encourage people to get out there, enjoy yourself, and anyone who says they don't have time to spend time with their family or get out and do those things, it's not about not having the time, it's about the prioritization of the time. You know, one of the things I talk about is time management, and it really comes down to making sacrifices. So you have to watch maybe a half an hour less of your favorite TV program, but if that means you get half an hour more with your significant other or your kids, get out there and do it, because we only have a short time in this life. And this is a really one that really always wakes me up when I think about it, is if you think about the average person, we only have about 75 years on this earth, right, on average. So if you think about that, that's only 75 birthdays, 75 Christmases, 75 whatever. And if you've already gone through 35 of those, or wherever you currently are in your life, that's a real wake-up call to say, wow, what am I going to do with the rest of those birthdays, Christmases, whatever you want to call it. And I think that for a lot of people, that's that, oh my goodness, I got to start now. So yeah, definitely.
So I'm a little curious about your experience with the tech industry, and what were your interests there, and what sort of work did you do?
So I started out in the tech industry as a quality assurance tester. Now I went to the Art Institute of Vancouver and got a diploma as a video game designer.
Okay.
So I understand, my passion really stemmed from the idea of being able to create virtual worlds and become and embody characters and have special powers you could never dream of. Now, maybe
we all want that.
That's right. That's right. And maybe for me, that stepped outside of the fact that having a disability, I didn't want people to focus on the dis, more the ability, you know? And so I think that's why I wanted to create these worlds. But then being able to go in there and learn how to delegate and manage groups of people really plays a part on how I see working with individuals and working together more so. And so that's what I got to do. I ended up working at a game studio for 4 years as a quality assurance manager and learning out how to break games, you know, find the ways to find bugs. And that really gave me a good attention to detail. And I try to have those transferable skills translate a lot in the things that I speak about. Because, you know, it is really all transferable, and it does make sense and translate through many industries, whether it's corporate, through schools, a lot of doctors. I mean, I've had 13 surgeries, so I can speak on, you know, being a patient, and all these things, they have led up, but they really do play a part on some of the things that I speak about and in that past. So that's great. I still have my foot in the door in the tech industry. I still write for a website called ablegamers.com, which is a foundation out of the States, and they basically support sending out adaptive equipment for persons with disabilities who want to use gaming for rehabilitation purposes. So I'm still doing that. I'm also working with a company called Reality Controls as their director of communications, because they're working with a lot of motion and voice control, like the Kinect, to enable individuals, for example, like myself, with motor impairments, to not have to use your mouse or keyboard when you're controlling computer applications, but instead doing hand and voice gestures that make sense to you, but give you an extension to your own abilities. So I'm always going to have my foot in the door when it comes to technology, but it's always going to have an image or a message of empowering people and bettering their lives.
So how many jobs do you have, Marco?
Right.
It sounds like you are a very busy guy.
Yes, I'm a very busy guy. So I'm doing the staff writing for Able Gamers. I'm helping right now. I'm actually co-writing a mini-series that's happening that's loosely based on my life, and we're looking for financing right now. So that's really good. I can't wait till that comes out. I'm so excited about that. And then, of course, the director of communications, and then running my business. So it literally is a full-time job. When I open my eyes in the morning, I think, all right, what's next?
Yeah, it sounds like it's more than a full-time job.
That's right. But you know what? I would rather say at the end of the day that I got really proud of what I accomplished, rather than saying what did I do with my day. And that's really what I want to push out to other people, is that they have it within them too, to go after whatever it is they want to do.
So Marco, anything that we should be looking out for? What are your plans for this rest of the summer or for the future?
Well, I hope to continue to go around to different educational institutions and corporate events and do speaking. So look out for me there. It really is every day is a new challenge, and looking for people who want to have me come out and do these things. Now, I do have a pretty busy schedule, but I am going to be doing the Drop Zone again this year.
Okay.
So that's in September 10th of this year, and our goal this year is to raise over $20,000. Last year we raised $5,000, so we'll be doing that. And of course the mini series. Hopefully we might start it out as a web series, so I'll keep you guys posted when that comes out. But it's going to be loosely based on my life as being a child in the spotlight, you know, and on these different telethons and different things like that. And then the transition from being sort of an ambassador and a child to growing up into this world and still wanting to pave a way and make a difference and maybe still be in TV and film. And what is that like? What's the difference from being a 10-year-old versus a 28-year-old? And I think that it's an interesting perspective that a lot of people will connect with.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds like an amazing time for you.
Oh,
right
thank
now.
you. No, and obviously being able to work with Surrey604 and being able to spread a message and spread a story, I think it's extremely important. And what you guys are doing for the community of Surrey, I just think is absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much. As a resident of Surrey, because I grew up here, I love it here, and I really think that there's a lot of positive things that people need to see in this city.
We agree. That's why we do what we do.
Awesome.
So if someone wants to get a hold of you, how would they contact you? Do you have a website? Are you on the social media?
Oh, I'm on every social media channel you can imagine. So if you go to my website, www.thecubeprinciple.com, you can contact me through there.
Okay.
And I'm also on YouTube, Twitter, you name it. So if you just go to my website or type in Marco Pasqua Surrey, you should be able to find me through there, and you'll be able to check out some of my things and some of the things I've done. Anything from hand cycling to sit skiing to you name it. I'm definitely open, so don't feel afraid to contact me. I would love to meet new people and really just share a little bit of a message and help them try to uncover what it is that they want to be doing in their lives as well.
Well, thanks, Marco. I know that I'm inspired just by this conversation today.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us, and we will keep in touch, and we'll keep our eyes out for Marco Pasqua.
Thank you.